Here are the 4 secrets to changing your life completely. Are you ready? Hey, my name is Supriya. I'm an entrepreneur and a self-mastery coach, and on this channel, I'll teach you how to overcome barriers women face to having a business and life they love. Every week, I post a new episode on Sundays, so hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on the episodes. Thanks so much for being here and welcome to our new subscribers. I am so excited to have our new friends in our community. Now, did you know that every week I actually sit down and reflect on what I'm grateful about? And this year I have so much to be grateful about, this little community that we're growing together on both Spotify and here on YouTube. I love that we are interested in having a better life. Did you know that there are so many people that don't even know they have this option? So this is why we need to learn and share. We can't just be consuming and not sharing or doing or implementing what we're learning. So that's the era that we're in, my friends, and I'm really grateful to have you here in this part of the interwebs. And I want you to share this information in some way or another. So not only will you accelerate your own growth, but you're also going to help others through demonstrating and role modeling what you are really invested in. That is your personal development and your growth, right? Let's get started with the 4 secrets to changing your life forever. Are you ready? So, secret number 1 is identity. Secret number 2 is habits. Secret number 3 is rituals. And secret number 4 is results. So, let's go into them a little bit deeper so that you understand what I mean by these. Now, obviously, this list sounds very simple, but is it really easy? No. And the reason why it's not easy is because most of us don't create a plan, don't create a vision, and don't have reminders in our life to go, right, this is who I'm becoming. This is what I do, and this is how I show up, and these are the results that I'm working towards. And so that's what we're talking about in a nutshell today. And why this is so important that we focus on these 4 aspects is because these are the things that help us keep being more of who we actually want to be versus what we don't. So let's get started with identity. Now, ancient yogis had already mapped out the mind, which modern science still hasn't, right? Modern science, psychology frameworks don't really look at the mind the way the ancient yoga science looks at it. So what the ancient sciences have talked about is good to know because it will help us now connect the modern science's approach to having a fulfilling life, which is equally important, right? So the ancient science talks about how we come from nothing, being, there's a word called Brahma, right? Brahma is the energy of creation. The creative energy is nothingness, right? When we come from nothing, the nothingness turns into awareness. When the nothingness becomes aware of itself, then we experience awareness. Awareness then becomes more denser into consciousness. And consciousness then becomes more dense through the mind. Consciousness is still at the level of consciousness, everything is still quite inactive, but once the consciousness becomes more dense, that becomes mind. And then mind creates all of our actions and results, right? Mind turns into the physical form. Now, I know this is vast and wide, and if you're one of my clients or students already, I would share it with you if we were in person, because this is an eye-opening way to look at ourselves as being the infinite self. But let's look at also changing life from this perspective, how we can work with this information to bring more into our life of what we want versus what we actually are moving away from. So when we are at the level of the mind, we need to learn about how the mind works. So the ancient system also looks at the 4 parts of the mind. So the mind has itself based in consciousness. If your level of consciousness is vibrating at a low level, which is like fear, apathy, there is a framework there in this modern day that is showing us what are some of the emotions that show up as an indication of our own consciousness. So our level of results are showing us our level of consciousness, and that level of consciousness is creating the level of mind thinking. But the mind itself can be looked at as ego or identity and also intellect, right? So intellect serves the ego or identity. And this is why the identity level work is so important, because if you're operating from an incorrect identity, then your results are showing you that level of consciousness that you're living from, which is there might be some misalignments. Maybe you want excellent results, but you're coming from a place of force versus power, right? One who is powerful, they don't use force. They are actually coming from a place of all havingness, right? They're aware of their vastness already. They know that they're coming from nothing, and nothing is theirs anyway. However, it's a necessity to be fulfilling the physical life's needs, and that can happen through taking on an identity that can serve others and that can help fulfill creations, motivations, and desires, right? The creative forces. So look, this is me just sharing with you the way I look at identity, because I've invested years and years, decades of my life to figure out, why do I want what I want, and why doesn't it make sense that I have what I have, right? I want so many better things, but how come I don't have them, right? And that's not the end of it. That's just the start of it. So we are all experiencing a certain level of results, and the way we are going about creating those results is happening because of the level of our identity, right? Our ego. Now, ego has so many, ideas and connotations to it, because in the modern age, we've had so many writers write about ego. But very simply put, Eckhart Tolle wrote about ego to be memory, right? Ego is memory. Like every part of our body is ego. That part of our mind is programmed. So think of ego to be programming, and you can change that. An example of this is the identity that I am really pushing through my life as well as my clients is the wealthy woman's identity. Wealthy, successful woman's identity. That's how I live and conduct myself. And I invite you to consider this, right? A wealthy, successful woman who actually wants to give is needing to have a connection and clarity over who she wants to show up as. So a wealthy woman who has an identity as such will definitely have the financial abundance, but they have time freedom. They have location freedom. They create that for themselves so that they can serve at a higher level and a better level to whoever. You know what I mean? New worlds open up to them. And I have seen this myself, go through this. As I progress on my journey, I've seen myself go through this. And me being on YouTube, showing you what I have learned is a level of that, right? The work that I've done. I used to have so much reservations about being seen. I didn't know how to speak clearly. And I used to be the girl who used to be the fly on the wall as I grew up, right? I used to be that person. And I used to get bullied, right? So think about that version to who I am now. This is because I've adopted and aligned to a new identity that I have now put into action, and I'm experiencing new levels as I keep living that aligned, as I keep living my life in alignment to that identity. Next secret is your habits. So your habits means what you do on a daily basis, what you do regularly, what you do consistently. Now, sometimes when we think about habits, we're always thinking about what we're doing consistently or what we're not doing consistently. Now, some things you don't need to do consistently, and that's what we call rituals, right? Rituals are like seasonal, monthly, like new moon rituals, full moon rituals, right? Quarterly, like detoxes, right? And then you might have to see the tax person. That's a financial ritual every year. Do you get that? So that's my next one, which is your rituals. But let's talk about the habit. Habits are what we can actually teach ourselves to develop, to practice every single day, that helps us be that identity and live that identity properly. So if you don't know what a wealthy woman does, check out my last week's video where I shared about 5 habits of wealthy women, because I study them, right? I work with them directly. So a couple of them are my mentors. And so when I learn about them, I realize that, wow, they have actual habits that they have. So when you can align your actions to the identity, then your identity is more likely to create the results that they're wanting to create. So habits, what I look at it as, is preparation, right? A habit is like a preparation to be ready for what I'm meant to be doing or who I'm meant to be being, right? A preparation is happening all the time. So the fact that you will make mistakes or you'll miss things is all a part of the journey of preparing to be your ultimate best self, right? And this identity is your guidance from within to help you take more and more aligned action, developing new habits that will help you become more and more successfully you. Now that change will happen through your habits that you develop. Some habits you won't have and you'll need to learn them. Okay, so one of the habits that I never had was studying and then implementing. I mean, if I have invested in anything in the last decade, are books. I'm not the person that buys expensive shoes anymore. I mean, I stopped buying anything else. I would buy books. And that was what I valued, right? Knowledge. But I wasn't really implementing it. I wasn't sharing it. And that's a habit I had to learn, because when I realized that my identity then became a teacher's identity, to be the effective teacher, I realized I had to implement. This is what I teach others to do, because that's a habit of a teacher. For a student, your habit is to learn and also use. And as a teacher, you will need to learn and share. You following me? Okay, so a habit can look more than something that you do for yourself, for your health or your well-being, right? It's to apply anywhere in life. What are the habits that you need to develop to be able to receive more, right? So many of us women that don't have the habit of saying thank you from the heart is because we don't allow ourselves to receive. And that's a masculine imbalance, right? So if you want to change your life, you need to do things that you're uncomfortable doing. So you've got to figure that out. What is more aligned to your, identity that you're trying to develop? So think about it like this. Your identity will help you actually guide your actions and habits. And habits are those actions that you take to develop this identity and bringing more sustained change throughout your days that will one day become subconscious. It will just become natural. So if you really get into it, and how I experienced this is it happened within 2 weeks for me because I was in it fully, consciously. And you'll never see me when I am a trainer or a facilitator, you'll never see me having notes in my hands, right? I prepare, but I never have notes in my hand and I talk from an experiential level. When I do follow scripts, I stuff things up because that's not my identity anymore, right? I'm trying to control something that's no longer needing controlling or refining. Am I making sense? But does that mean I don't need to develop new skills? Not at all. There's always a newer, better version of that identity that we can work towards. But we need to first become aware that the key secret to changing our life, making lasting change, which it requires an identity shift and then pairing it up with the aligned habits, right? Some habits you don't have and you need to find out who they are through modeling excellence. So that's why I'm working directly with people that are having those results and I'm learning about what habits they have so that I can change my habits. Third one is rituals. A ritual is, like I was mentioning before, can be as simple as brushing your teeth and having a shower, weekly tub time, right? Burning incense, praying, journaling, right? And it can also be financial, like doing your taxes on time, keeping your records, right? And having an appointment with your financial advisor or your health advisor or your coach. These are rituals that help you achieve your goals in time. Now, rituals will vary from area to area of your life, and most of us have learned rituals to be for our self-care or mental health routines, right? That's very essential, right? However, why would you do that? So that you can become more effective in your other areas of your life. And that's how you're going to make good changes in your life holistically. So rituals is like a muscle. You need to ritualize your tasks. You need to ritualize what's going to help you stay in alignment to your goals. You need to ritualize habits also so that you can maintain your health in every area of your life. And ritualize celebrating as well your performance, your lessons, your growth. You ritualizing those things will help you increase in being the best version of yourself, because some of the things that are fundamental to our growth, which is celebration, means that we're appreciating what we have created, what we have done, what we have learned, and then we create more of that because our brain is wired to do that. Okay? So rituals can vary, and in my Empowered You program, I go into this in one of the modules where we talk about our needs, looking at our needs, right? We actually have physiological, emotional needs, and some of them can't be met just by ourselves. We actually need to engage with other people, and this is why it's so important to really look at our rituals closely so that we know that, hey, rituals are so important, just like brushing our teeth. Why? It's because we want to have good oral health, yes, but why do most people brush their teeth? So they feel clean, and feeling clean gives you this sparkly feeling, right? So rituals can give you that sense of security, that stability, and this confidence that you're doing the right thing, right? And if you look at the ancient knowledge about rituals, it's actually an ancient practice. It's written in the ancient texts. Rituals are systematic practices to be magicians in our life. So, you've heard of witchcraft, right? Witches do rituals, right? Medicine practitioners do rituals to be able to create new levels of success. Magic, really. You're familiar with manifestation. There's rituals to manifest things that you want, because you're then creating momentum through your intentional work that puts you in the state of receptivity and, creating action from that space of, it's already mine and I'm doing it because it's a part of me. And rituals also need to be aligned to the identity of the person. As a contrasting story, I have to share with you that a smoker has a ritual to smoke to feel calm and relaxed, right? This is for someone specific out there that I'm thinking that might use this to move themselves towards a functional strategy to feeling calm and relaxed. Because while that is a ritual that they are doing for themselves to take time out, and smoking really, helps them relax, but what's another ritual that could be aligned to healthy identity, right? I'm sure people that smoke, they don't really want to be unhealthy. They actually want to be successful and healthy. It's just a misaligned ritual, right? So can you see how releasing that with that sense of, well, I'm actually this person, I'm healthy. And healthy people don't use that strategy to feel calm and relaxed. They have other rituals. Like they might go to a sound bath, or they might go out into nature and take deep breaths, or they might do some meditation, or they may just be still or get a massage. There are so many other strategies that are more aligned to the identity. So it's a matter of finding out what is your next ritual that you need to revise that might be out of alignment to the identity that you are trying to create more and more of. And last one, my friend, is results. Stephen Covey is an author that has written this amazing book called The 7 Habits of Successful People. And this is one that says, start with the end in mind. And what he really talks about is results, right? Start with the results and outcome that you have in mind before you take action, before you start your day, or before you take that initiative, right? If you don't have clarity of that, please don't do anything with that. You don't need to say yes. You don't need to step into something and figure it out. You can get clear about it first and then go into searching for it. And some might say, and most people that are not working in alignment with their identity will find this boring. They will say, but where's the magic in that? Where's the surprise in that? Well, you just tell them, look, they're unclear of who they're trying to be, right? Because when you know who you're being or who you are as an identity, then your intellect works differently. Your intellect will tell you that, hey, this is a good investment of my time, focus, energy, and money versus what is not. Or it will tell you to ask more questions, and that's how you keep sharpening yourself to become more intelligent as that identity. So results are not happening by accident. They're either happening by default or deliberately. And the more you realize that you are able to create deliberate results, the more you get more aligned to taking action with the results in mind. Now, I'm not talking about the result that is right at the end of that transaction or right there and then. What is recommended to making lasting change in our lives is to actually have a long-term vision, because how the ego can sabotage our changes is that it can become too obsessed about the short-term gain. So this is with any identity, by the way. It can happen to a sadhu, meaning someone that is like a sage, And it can happen to a businessman or a very big enterprise. It's the double-edged sword, right? We have to manage ourselves. The self-management of our identity lies in that, okay, we're going to have a long-term vision for ourselves, so that whatever we're doing right now, we're not just going to go, oh, once I do this, then it'll be fine. That creates more fear-based action and pushingness, right? It makes you use force rather than power, knowing that, I'm going to get there. I know this. And that's why I'm showing up like this now, without expectation. That's how we actually stay involved without attachment to the result. And that's where we produce our best work, which yields great results, and that will lead us faster to our vision. And then we'll be in a new level of thinking completely, which has happened over and over for me and my mentors, and that's how this journey is programmed. This is law of attraction, law of abundance. This is all the natural laws in our environment. It's physics. So let's come back to the topic, which is 4 secrets to changing your life. And I've shared with you 4 secrets. What did you think of it? Let me know. Have you heard anything that has, sparked something within you to go, you know what? This might be worthwhile looking into. So go check out the video on the clarity playlists. So there's a whole playlist on clarity and alignment to learn about how to actually, look at yourself to gain more and more clarity about your identity. Because once you figure that piece out, you'll be able to choose the right habits, rituals, and look at what results are possible for you from that lens, right? Okay, so I'm so grateful that you're here with me and a part of our little tribe that's growing. Really love the energy that I get to create these episodes. I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. Please share it in the comments or as a review. It really helps get the message out faster and to the right people. And I love your presence. Thank you so much for your love and attention. And I'll see you next week.